Welcome! Hello, floral friends, and welcome back. Today is another episode of Floral Observations.
We are into episode 4 of Full Bloom, and it is a messy one, misinformed one, and all over disaster, which we love. And we love to get into. And so it is incredible edibles. Nothing in this episode will be edible, and none of it will be.
There'll be edible components in one.
None of the designs will be edible.
Yes.
And not very incredible. So our first personal task is Baroque inspired. It is that Instagram massy
Constance Spry.
like Constance Spry inspired style. And like I said last week, I only know of a few people that do it well. Connor does it very well. There's some that try to do it in the group to an Instagram effect, and it's whatever. Matt's mentor, I'm going to bring her up again because she's one of the best people I know that knows how to modernize and do this style, and that is Nora by Floral by Nora.
Mm-hmm.
Go check her out, Floral by Nora. But it is Baroque inspired. Elizabeth made these like gross designs of just mass, trying to be Dutch, still life. They're bad, whatever. That's their inspiration. They have to use at least 4 fruits or vegetables. I'm here for that. I love dividing that into design. No foam or single-use plastics. It has to be sustainable. Here's the issue with that. Someone's doing a watermelon. It's not sustainable. Their containers are not sustainable. The foam that they're saying is not eco-friendly is one of the only eco-friendly technical tools in there. I do very much like that they are showing how to do wire mesh or other ways, but they are to not use foam, which is misinformed. That is if it is Oasis foam, it is biodegradable. They have completely changed their container line and their foam line to be eco-friendly. So when you're watching this, just know there is misinformation in this episode. They have 2 hours, and let's get into it, because I know you don't mind this style.
No, I don't. And we'll go ahead and start with Aces, which is honestly, I'm going to bloom it because it was one of my favorite ones from the task.
Mm-hmm.
Ace did a beautiful job. Ace, I feel like you can tell that Ace has knowledge of what this style is supposed to be, and not just what people do on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got beautiful levels. He's one of the only designers that actually took like bites into his fruit and or vegetable, and I feel like it really lends itself to the true still life inspiration that it's supposed to have. So this is a bloom for me.
Oh, this is a bloom for me. This is what I want to see from this style, but I also want to see the elevation. We see the unique use of the cabbage, drawing the color in. We see the use of the bitten into fruit. I think that's an element that some people got and some didn't. It's not just about
putting a fruit in.
Putting a fruit in or having it beautifully cut. It has to have that element of destruction, which we'll see in others. So he did a very good job, and this is a still life in someone's home. This is that interaction. And the flower usage was really beautiful in the color harmony. So this is a bloom. This is Justin's.
I'm gonna go ahead and start with this one. This one is a light prune for me. Couple reasons. Clearly, all of this foliage that is framing the whole thing is wilting. He used some herbs, and it looks.
This is in the watermelon.
This is Why can't I see it's in a watermelon?
Because the watermelon's down here.
Oh yeah, well that's why it's in a watermelon. It didn't have a damn water source. So prune for that. I forget that he was the one that did that. I couldn't tell because it's container that they rested it on. Yeah, no, prune.
This is a prune for me. The fruit's too precise. It's too perfectly placed with those fruit. The watermelon I have seen work, but it has to have a water added to it. It has to have more to it. It is a good sugar water mixture, not well executed. And while he did do the inspiration of Elizabeth's with that massy chunkiness, it's not Baroque. It does not have the also looseness that pulls you out, the deconstructed fruit.
I feel like a little box over here though, but there's not even anything with the arrangement.
It has nothing to do with the arrangement. So for me, this is a prune. It's just there, which is not good.
Spencer, and Spencer was, as you can see on there, Spencer was eliminated. I actually am going to give this a soft bloom. I don't hate this. Not necessarily the inspiration of Elizabeth's, but I don't hate this design. He is one of the only designers that chose to use feathers, which I think is a great, especially with this style of design, this Baroque, like incorporating the pheasant feathers is a really wise way to bring that like hint of luxury in from from the pheasant hunt, fresh from the pheasant hunt. It works for me, and so this is a bloom.
This is a bloom for me. He's one of the other ones that deconstructed his fruits. We see the watermelon torn apart. We see things that are a little bit more rougher looking, but then he also has different stages of the life of fruit. So we have really fresh, almost blueberry looking types of pods that go really well with these blackberries.
Yeah.
Or not blueberries, blackberries, fresh to not fresh. We get these nice like persimmons, but we also have really good depth. I think this is a good all-around version of Baroque. We have nice basing that pulls you out. It's a bloom for me. It's nothing super duper special, but for an all-around Baroque,
You did a good job.
you did a good job. Kristen, I'll start with this one. I think that this is a prune for me. It's not a hard prune. It's just too much. She tried to go too big, too much stuff. I think the container in the middle wasn't necessary, or it could have been lower to have one fluid arrangement. I get arrangement, and then I get a ring arrangement. Her flower choice was beautiful, but to me, this escapes Baroque, and it is not Baroque to me.
I'm with you.
Fully.
But so you're a prune.
This is a prune for me.
So soft prune though?
Yeah.
See, I'm right on the other side of the line of a soft bloom for this one. Because of her choice, the flower choices, the product usage, and then even the way that she incorporated the exactly. She's out here smashing the melon. Like she went for it, and I always have to give it to people who are just like, whatever, I'm just gonna fucking do it. And she did it, and I'm here for that. And so for that, it's a soft, but it's a bloom.
Yeah.
Also those garden roses and like the way the roses pair with the tulips, it's just delicious. Beth, I'll go ahead and start with Beth's. Beth's is a soft bloom as well. She tried to do the Hogarth's curve. I don't think she was fully successful in it, but also at the same time, it's not really like, when I think of Baroque design, I don't necessarily think of this, like for floral design, I don't think of that as the line. She did a great job of like selecting what she chose, but it's a soft bloom. It's a soft bloom.
It's a soft bloom to me just because of the execution of things around it. Like the crystal's unnecessary, and there's certain parts to me that aren't needed. However, this shows Beth's experience in age, because this is Dutch still life style that was becoming popular in the time. It wasn't always the constant spry. This was a style of Baroque.
Well, I'm
in the
aware
time.
of the history of when the Hogarth's curve was named. When
That's
it
what
came
I'm saying.
about.
Like I think she was smart in doing something that was of the time and was part of the evolution of Baroque style. I think it's just a little too solid for, like, she focused too much on the Hogarth's curve instead of kind of giving levels and dimension.
Yeah.
But it's still a bloom.
That's where I'm like, it's not focused on, it's too focused on the actual S instead of the letting the line of the flowers have their make the S, form the S. She formed the S with mechanics, and so two soft blooms.
Yeah.
Connor, go for it. Take it away.
I will be completely honest. I'm a big Connor fan. Like, Connor is one of my like top girls to win this, and I don't love this. To me, this is a prune, but soft prune, because it goes too far into the Elizabeth round of too masked for me to have the Baroque feel. Like, this to me doesn't marry that well to this. I do love his accessories to the side, but at the same time, that's not the arrangement. It is Baroque, but in that sense of just mass. To me, if you took off this, it's just a blob mass design. So it's a soft bloom. It could be Baroque, but needs more finesse.
I feel it, especially on this picture. I feel that when I saw when they kind of showed the all around on this one, I was like, ooh, okay. So I'm gonna soft bloom this one. Because of the way that he kind of like let the bowl, like he almost designed into the bowl of it, and I really like that, and the way that it just does. I see what you're saying from this photo, but it worked for me, and so I'm gonna bloom this one. Also, his styling really spoke to me.
Adam, you can start with this one.
I'll start with Adams. This is a beautiful arrangement. This is a beautiful design. I don't know. There's just something about it that is just a little too like. I'm about to say it's too manicured, and I know that is almost like weird to say,
you can
but like
over-edit things.
it seems a little too. It's too manicured. It's too edited. It seems too like I don't know. It's not giving me what I want, but it is still a beautiful design. It's still I'm still gonna bloom it, I think.
Yeah.
But it's just not. It's not giving me what I want.
I'm blooming it. It's Baroque. Is it perfect? No, but it's like again with past ones. It's what Elizabeth's pictures were showing. He did, I think, slightly over edit, which is something not a lot of people have a problem with on this show. I wish I could have seen better utilization of the fruit or the vegetables. It's a very safe flower shop Baroque design for someone that isn't willing to go farther.
Almost too pretty.
Yeah. Everything is too placed exactly.
Yes.
So she's a bloom still though.
Oh god, here we are.
Challenge time.
Here we are to the team challenge, and I'm just gonna go ahead and preface these are a damn mess, both of them.
Yeah.
The challenge itself was a damn mess. I don't
understand where eco-friendly and Incredibles edibles led to this.
Because it's a cake.
None of it's edible. A lot of people use spray paints. They use
tool.
Like a lot of things that were not eco-friendly in any way. Yes, they started with a hay bale, but at the same time, how they did the dyed mosses and how they utilized stuff
just is
was
a silly task. Honestly, HBO, back to the drawing board with this one entirely.
So, team task, this is fabulous floral cake. You have 2 bare hay bale with a slice taken out of it. Cakes, it's how you create the cake will be judged, like how you actually construct it on this hay bale. And you have to have a decorative topper. They specifically said a couple times, make us a topper. And then 4 hours to do it. What is the first thing that you do to this cake after hearing
I make that goddamn topper.
And make it everything.
Yeah.
Have all 4 people lift that up and put it on and then go from
Number
there.
1.
Absolutely.
First thing.
I think Kristen kind of did that in a way more. But here's our teams. We have team Ace. This is a bright celebration cake. He didn't want to go birthday. He didn't want to go wedding. He wanted to celebrate pride and people of pride. And then we have we have Spencer, Justin, and Beth on team Ace. You can see that Ace and Beth, they stick together and they work well together. They know that, and so they're always on with each other. This is also where we start to see Justin kind of come out of his bubble a bit more.
Yeah.
We're seeing his muscles. We're seeing him smile more and interact more. You can see that confidence really growing, especially in this design. Our next team, let's just say the teams and then we'll critique them. Our next team is a muted wedding. They got to pick their flowers. Their flowers are picked for them. They don't choose their color harmony. They don't have the hardest part.
It was like you either get pole A or pole B. Have fun.
Yeah, and Ace was the one that got to pick the bright and colorful. So Kristen had this muted blush tones nightmare because it's so boring. But she had a muted wedding. She did pistachio cake, and her team was Adam, Connor, and they were the winners. And so let's go back. So this is our celebration cake. Would you like me to start, or would you like to start?
I will start.
Okay.
And I am going to prune this because that's not like the inside, unless it's funfetti, which I'm always here for a funfetti cake, but funfetti don't even look like that. Like that is all over me. I would have liked to have seen, it's a cake. Let's see some structure. Let's see some layers.
Yeah.
Let's see something going on inside there. I do like the outside. The outside I think is kind of fun, the way that they did this like little baby's breath zigzag all across. The topper is pretty non-existent to me. It's like bad. They did these.
This was the best picture with the topper.
Like easel sprays, and then this just like stick. I think it's manzanita branches or something like that. Yeah. It's just like, it's not successful. The only successful thing is the icing job on the outside, I think.
Because Ace had prefaced a couple times that the inside is supposed to be like M&Ms or candy spilling out when you cut into the cake.
Yes, but I don't get that.
Get that. However, I am pruning it because it's not as edited at the outside. The topper, Spencer spent so much time on it for it to be so underwhelming. And when you look at Maurice, because it was inspired by Maurice, supposed to be opening up his arms or something, that's a colorful man. And that is a very vibrant man. It needs to be not large, but it needs to be expressive.
I loved the story behind this cake,
Yeah.
and I just don't feel like they delivered
dropped the
on
ball.
it.
So to me, it's just a sloth prune because, again, if they had wrapped this in and I had flowers in the middle of candy in the center, it makes more
Absolutely.
sense. And it's just pulling those lines in. And I like that, even though it's eco-friendly, we have tons of dyed moss and tons of spray paint on this. So
Yeah.
not eco-friendly.
So let's talk about pistachio cake. I'm going to actually bloom this one. It's a soft bloom because I just hate the whole cake idea. And that has nothing to do with either one of these teams because this has everything to do with the concept of the challenge itself.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think this team was pretty wise in some things that they decided to do. They were like, well, we have this tool. They're going to wrap the whole outside in tulle. Fine. There was nothing saying they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And honestly, it makes it look more like cake than the other one. And then they did the layers inside, which really that's a cake. That's a cake. They've got a beautiful topper. They succeeded in making a blush wedding cake.
I'm gonna prune it because I think it's kind of dumb and ugly. The tool does not have a beautiful color gradient, and then the judges were judging it on a naked cake. She designed it to a gradient. To me, this is not a gradient. When she sketched it out, and the whole time she's talking, she's a gradient. This is a cop-out to me, and so is the inside. The inside's done nice, but there's no flowers to it. There's barely any flowers to the outside. It's the adornment. It's not a floral cake. When I think floral cake, I want the decoration to be the cake.
Fair enough. The other one's just floral. It's no cake. This is cake.
To me, this
with
is a
flowers.
prune because it's not a floral cake, and it's boring.
It's boring.
Is everything you've ever seen at a wedding. So she's a prune. She's fine.
Bloom of the week, though. Which is yours?
You tell me first.
I'm gonna go with aces.
I'm going to go with aces also. It is a game of the best of the worst, but he actually did well at a style he's not done.
His color was great.
He had enough body to it, but then the details of biting into the apples. So yeah, ace 100%. I had to think about it for a second because I hated this episode. I hated the Instagram-y trendiness. I hated the cakes. Nothing
I didn't
edible.
hate the Instagram part as much as I hate the cake part.
I think because of the amount of misinformation and the lack of understanding of proper mechanics in the beginning individual, that made me mad. But Ace, he did very well. And I would love to see on his Instagram and things he's doing, kind of loosen up and show more of the I'm exploring trends because he does it well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good job, Ace.
Yeah.
Bloom of the week.
And he was the winner of the individual, and I think it was well deserved.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. And so this week, who went home?
Spencer went home. It was one of
right.
our more dramatic. We had Chantel throwing people under the bus last week, and then the
Ace falling on his
opposite.
sword this week. Yeah.
Ace really tried to sacrifice him for his team, and the judges are not for it. You are here to win or this money, or you're not here at all. And so he did try to step as a leader because they did work well as a team. I didn't even touch on teams of these because they both did a good job as a team. But he stepped up as a leader and said if there's shortcomings because it's beginning to be it's all good people that are left. He did try to save Spencer, but Spencer's like, nah, babe, like I'm going home.
Yeah.
And so we see the other side of how teams can work in being friendships and being an actual unit and seeing a leader try to defend the team.
Well, and see a letter pick their people up.
Absolutely. And we will see that again, which I really love. So next Monday, we're getting into a very fascinating episode. We get into good design again. We are past this disaster. So catch us next Monday when we have another full bloom.
And catch us Friday on the Floral Today Facebook page when we do our Floral Friday live at 3 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah, so we will catch you all on Monday. Bye!